plus 3 weeks paid vacation each year.
What's up, everyone? I am the Kaiju no Kami, and I have reached 7,000 subscribers. Yay! Thank you so much. And as a celebration, I am taking a look at Lupin III, Part 1. For those not in the know, Lupin III is a crime comedy drama series that began life as a manga in the late 60s by artist Kazuhiko Kato, who became nicknamed Monkey Punch against his will. He was originally asked to create a manga series that would cover 3 months of an anthology book titled Weekly Manga Action, only it ended up lasting 3 years instead. Kato created his concepts in the French novel series about a thief, Arsene Lupin by Maurice Leblanc, and combined it with elements from Ian Fleming's James Bond franchise to create a series about a group of thieves always on the run from the cops. The series became a smash hit among adult readers due to its violence and the lead character's perversion of women. Eventually, an anime adaptation was put into production, initially as a short 12-minute film. In 1971, TMS took an interest in the franchise and ordered a 26-episode series, only for it to perform so poorly that it was prematurely cancelled, ending 3 episodes early. It's hard to believe that a franchise going as strong as it is had such a rough start. But then the same thing did happen to Gundam and Macross, so it's not like it's the first time that has occurred. Is Lupin III Part 1 really that bad, or were audiences just unsure of it at the time? Let's find out. The characters and plot. Lupin III features a quartet of ragtag thieves who cause wanton mischief while trying to get rich in the process. Our titular character is Arsene Lupin III. He's the grandson of French's most infamous thief, who continues to make his grandfather proud by stealing whatever catches his eye at that moment in time. Should I pronounce it as Lupin or Lupin? Because I know in the series he is pronounced Lupin because that's how the Japanese pronounce him, but technically per the French way it should be Lupin. So, this is a toughie. Alright, I think I'm going to go with Lupin when I'm talking about Lupin III specifically, the descendant, but if I'm talking about the fictional character that he's based on, or his grandfather, Arsene Lupin, I'm going to just say Lupin. Let's see how that goes. Sometimes it may be something as simple as gold or cash, while at other times he may want a more interesting product, such as a set of playing cards that once belonged to Napoleon. One of the things I really like about Lupin is that he is exceptionally smart and often walks into a dangerous situation knowing what lies ahead. He has no qualms about killing when necessary, and Yasuo Yamada provides a wonderful performance to the character that sounds as intelligible as he is sophisticated.
待ってくれ！俺はルパンじゃない！ルパンに脅かされて入れ替わったんだ！私はここの警官であります！
まさかこの俺を偽物と思ってるんじゃねえだろうな。
偽物かどうかは俺が決めるよ。
歯の合言葉はこれだ！
Yamada made a name for himself by being the Japanese dub actor for Clint Eastwood, and he would continue to voice Lupin until his death in 1995. Lupin is a wonderful, despicable character you can't help but love. His partners include the ex-marksman Daisuke Jigen, the treacherous thief Mine Fujiko, and his rival-turned-friend, the samurai bandit Goemon Ishikawa. Jigen is truly a badass character who stays at Lupin's side no matter what decision he makes, be it good or bad. He's typically play calm and cool-headed while trying to talk sense into Lupin if the man were to go too far. Kato combined the elements of New York City gangsters with a character that James Coburn played in the film The Magnificent Seven. The influences even went so far to the point where Kiyoshi Kobayashi was hired to voice Jigen, who was Japan's dub voice for Coburn.
なるほど。硬質ガラスか。種が分かればどうってことはないな。
手品の種を置き忘れるようじゃ魔術師パイカルの名が泣くぜ。
Kobayashi also went on to voice a plethora of anime and Toku characters such as the narrator Dagao Gaigar, Kamen Rider Black, and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 93, Watari in Death Note, VRV Master and Car Ranger, and Moriarty in Detective Conan. Sadly, unlike with Kobayashi, who would go on to voice Jigen until he retired from acting in 2021, neither actor portraying Fujiko and Goemon made it past the first series. Yukiko Nakaido and Chikao Otsuka would be taken off the show when it returned in 1978, as the producers felt neither actor portrayed their characters exceptionally well.
ワルター P38 素晴らしいフィルムね。ぶっ放す。
よしなよ、おもちゃじゃねえんだぜ。
素晴らしさをいささかも理解しようとせず、ピストルだライフルだと西洋武道に血道を上げておる。
I can't say I agree with this sentiment, but I also can't state that either one did anything truly exceptional in this first series, especially Otsuka given how little Goemon appeared in this one. It's okay though, as Otsuka would go on to have a vast career, even becoming the main voice for Dr. Eggman in the Sonic video game franchise. I cannot say the same for Nikaido, as she seemed to disappear from acting after 1980. I really liked both of these characters, especially Fujiko, who always gave Lupin some competition when it came to wit.
優しくして。
行くか。なかなかうまい芝居だったぜ、藤子。
I do have to say that she sometimes does come across as a damsel in distress, which is a shame because when she shines, she really shines. She was originally an assassin with a man named Poon until she betrayed her organization and Poon pretended to execute her in order to save her.
お前の仕事だ。撃て。裏切り者を撃つんだ。
Thus, she is highly skilled in combat while being a master of disguise.
はい、ストップ。
待て。
Oh, and if you couldn't tell, her original concept was act into a Bond girl as Lupin's lover, for they can never get together as their desire for money overcomes their feelings for one another.
藤子。
フリンチ、あなたもプロのつもりなら対等でやるべきよ。卑怯だわ。
この裏切り者め。
動かないで。
Goemon is a bit more straightforward and somewhat one-dimensional. As a descendant of the original samurai thief, he is initially hired to kill Lupin, eventually becoming partners with him after their second encounter. From then on, he works with Lupin, but only if the job interests him.
降ろさせてもらう。
あ、おい。
俺は仕事に女が加わるのはごめんだ。
まあ、お堅いこと。
Yeah, I'm with Jigen on this one. That's as far as his character development goes. While the series does feature a surplus of antagonists for Lupin to contend with, good and bad, none of them are as definitive as the Japanese detective Koichi Zenigata. Zenigata, who is voiced by the amazing Goro Naya of Kamen Rider's Shocker leader fame until his death in 2013, is the grandson of a cop who tried to capture the original Arsene Lupin in France.
その通り、峰不二子は初めから俺の協力者だ。ルパン、貴様を逮捕する。
Like with Lupin, he too is based on a fictional detective, one Heiji Zenigata written by Kodo Nomura, which is about a detective who defeats his adversaries by throwing coins at them. Zenigata is a fun, hot-headed character who should be called Schrodinger's cop because you want to see him succeed and lose at the exact same time. After all, if he catches Lupin, that's the end of the series. Yet, if he doesn't catch Lupin, he's a failure as a cop. It is amazing how many times he says he is going to quit his job.
辞職願い。
銭形君早まるんだよ。
Still, he has a lot of personality and his showdowns with Lupin are always exciting to watch. I love how often he knows exactly what Lupin is trying to do. His good nature and curiosity causes his own downfall. It's like watching the coyote trying to catch the roadrunner.
あばよ取った。
くそルパンめ。
Some of the more memorable adversaries to go against Lupin include a magician that made himself invulnerable to attacks named Paikal.
やろう。
The one who owns the Napoleon card deck known as Mr. Gold.
Goldfinger. He's the man.
No, not Goldfinger, just Mr. Gold. A time traveler.
私が過去へ旅をし君の祖先を殺すだけで君も君の子孫も全てがこの地球上から完全に消えるので
A mad bomber who pretends to be Lupin in order to garner his attention and ends up forcing Lupin to work for him over some girl he threatens to kill.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
やめろやめるんだ。
引き受けていただけるんですな。
分かったやめてくれよ。
A nightclub owner who straps bombs to our favorite gang with a plot that forces Lupin to counterfeit money. The grandson to another cop who tried to arrest the original Lupin.
数々の秘宝に混じってガラクタ同然それこそ一文の値打ちもないアルセーヌ・ルパンの遺品を会場に並べることにしたのも実はこの目的のためなんです。いわばネズミ捕りの餌としてね。
おじいちゃんの遺品によくもケチをつけたら。
Lastly, a group of gangsters who try to sell stolen paintings through a beauty pageant. The animation and music. The animation and music are a product of their time. The animation is a mixed bag depending on your point of view. Yes, it is quite dated in how it looks, and yet I find its archaic animation to be quite compelling. Part of it may be due to the excellent remastering job that went into bringing the show into high definition. Regardless, I thought the animation was quite superb for being done in 1971 and holds up against other anime series done even to this day. Sorry, but CGI anime sucks. Animation errors are frequent with times when the lip sync is completely off.
藤子のやつは3日前に飛行艇を買い込んでるぜ。ザボどもをさっさと連行しろ。俺の目的はルパン逮捕のみ。ルパン！お前、あの女といつから付き合った？ 3年前女はある仕事でヘマをやらかした。組織は女を殺せとプーンに命じた。
My favorite error is hands down this one.
やめろ！
Did they just float through the ceiling? I'm sorry, but that is hilarious. Also, get used to seeing some of the driving scenes reuse the same background images for a couple of loops before the camera pans onto the characters or moves to their destination.
You know, he uses waltz.
うまくいったぜ。
いや、これからが問題だぜ。
I think the worst looking piece of the show is in one episode when Lupin and Jigen are forced to launder money and everything turns to VHS like video quality.
残業疲れか。ああ、どうせやねん。いいんだ、お互い様。ところで主任はいるかい？あ、はいはい、少々お待ちを。おい、主任さん、お電話。
From my understanding, that is because TMS lost the original master to that half of the episode and therefore only has access to the footage via a 16mm copy. Thus, it can never look as good as the rest of the show. It sucks, but it is what it is. And yes, I know that typically counts as a Blu-ray problem and not an animation issue. Still, I figured it was important enough to warrant a mention. Don't let the dated animation dissuade you from watching this show. Takeo Yamashita's soundtrack fits the show quite well for the most part. However, sometimes his music gets lost into the moments of heavy dialogue dialogue and sound effects due to everything being streamlined into a single monorail track. It's quite a shame because he made a damn good score that is buried thanks to antiquated technology. Some of my favorite tunes of his include the following.
さすが暗黒街の魔術師。
やっぱりパパのところへ帰るわ。
どうしてもかね。
ええ。
いやしかしね。
帰りたいって言ってんだ。素直に返してやったらどうなんだ。
誰だ。
ミレーヌ・ルパン中でめんこいこだ。
間違いない。
あら、安心だ。
かわいそうだが死んでもらう。
There are a couple of opening themes used throughout the show, all of which are sung by Charlie Kosei. The first theme is hands down the worst piece of music in the show as it just repeats the words Lupin III over ad nauseum.
Lupin, 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 Lupin III. Lupin.
The next theme, titled Afro Lupin 68, is a bit better, though still nowhere near the best anime theme songs I have ever heard.
Lupin, 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 Lupin.
The ending theme is a tad slow-moving for my taste, with Yoshiro Hiroshi breaking a person's insomnia.
Sadame Nano-san, Lupin-san.
Overall, the opening and ending songs are easily the weakest part of this series for me. The episodes. I can't say there was a single episode I hated in this show. It's a bit weird because usually I do prefer my anime to have a constant narrative flow throughout its run. Here, however, I found myself not minding that aspect one bit. You can pretty much watch nearly any episode you want without having seen the one before it or watch the one after it to enjoy it. And that was kind of refreshing in all honesty. I think it also helps that the stories and characters are so engaging that I didn't mind. I do still recommend watching the whole series in order as it still enhanced the experience. If you really just want to watch an episode or two to see if the show is for you, I highly recommend the episodes One Chance for a Prison Break or The Emerald Secret. Those are my top 2 favorite episodes of the show, and I'm not sure which one I like more. Prison Break is like watching a Lupin version of the Shawshank Redemption. Lupin gets captured by Zenigata after successfully stealing a chest full of gold. At first, it appears Lupin has been shot to death by the police, only for it to be revealed that they shot him with tranquilizer darts, an act which Lupin feels really embarrassed by. He is taken to a prison to await execution. Zenigata spends the next year constantly expecting Lupin to try to escape.
なぜ奴は叫ぶばかりで逃げようとしない。もう半年近くなるというのに。
逃げられないですよ。こんな厳重な警備は世界中探したってありゃしません。
In the meantime, we get some hilarious moments of Fujiko trying to break into the prison as Lupin still has the key to the gold on him, which constantly ends with Jigen, who tells her Lupin will break out when he is ready.
Yoshina って言ってるだろ。
The episode ends with some hilarity, and it really made me appreciate the show even more.
Andy crawled to freedom through 500 yards of shit-smelling foulness I can't even imagine.
Yeah, the machine cried.
Or not. As for The Emerald Secret, this one follows the exploits of Lupin and Fujiko as they are on a cruise ship for a wedding, looking for a rare emerald deemed the Eye of the Nile.
伝説のエメラルドナイルの瞳を必ず頂戴に上がります。いかなる警備も無駄だということを忘れなく。右念のためルパン参戦。
Zenigata was brought aboard to ensure that does not happen, and we get an interesting turn of events as the bride-to-be, a millionaire actress named Catherine Martin, seems to be playing a game of cat and mouse for her own game.
ナイルの瞳が割れるなんかしよ。
こいつはいや。藤子、お前も偽物をつかまされていたとはね。
そんなはずない ないわ。
Once again, it's a very funny episode that keeps you at the edge of your seat in anticipation and trying to figure out how everything is going to play out. Now, one thing you may have noticed between these two episodes is that Fujiko has two distinctive looks. 9 of the 23 episodes were directed by Masaki Osumi. Apparently, TMS was not pleased with the show's performance under Osumi and fired him a third of the way through production, replacing him with a couple of unknowns at the time, Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyazaki. If you don't know, they were the founders of Studio Ghibli. Or Ghibli. Jiff? GIF? Jigglypuff? Their job was to tone down the show's violence and change it from being a series geared towards adults and one for all ages. I personally did not realize there was a tonal shift until it was pointed out to me, so I can safely say the change did not ruin anything for me. If nothing else, it boosted the series' experimentation because it was always trying something new and never grew stale. I think it also helps that not all of the episodes aired in the production order, so we had a mixture of those done by Osumi sprinkled throughout the Miyazaki Takahata episodes during the second half. Now, if you were to ask me what my least favorite episode of the series was, I would probably go with episode 21's Rescue the Stubborn Tomboy. A woman is spending time with her uncle in what she believes is a vacation, whereas in reality is actually a kidnapping. Her father used to be a master thief and her uncle needs his expertise in an upcoming heist, but he's retired and has raised his daughter without her knowing about his past. Thus, he's hired our favorite thief to rescue the girl, who thinks Lupin is trying to kidnap her instead.
私、泥棒と嘘つきは大嫌い。
滝川の正体はさっき分かったはずだ。せっかく来た警官をマシンガンで邪魔したのはなぜだと思うんだよ。
おじさまには何か訳があったのよ。
It does have some really solid moments and her obliviousness is entertaining. It is also her naivete that causes the episode's downfall because she never really grasps the situation until it is too late. And by then the episode started to annoy me. Again, it's still a good episode. It's just by far the weakest one in this show. The movie. As I said at the beginning of the review, the series was preceded by a 12-minute movie. This pilot movie is really just that, a pilot that introduces the main players of the franchise. All of the characters but Jigen are voiced by someone different from the series itself, which was kind of off-putting for Lupin and Zenigata.
どうしたんだ次元。
その酒は飲まねえ方が良さそうだぜ。
何をバカ、俺が先に大手打ったんじゃねえか。
There's also a retired detective who works with Zenigata in this thing named Kogoro Akechi, who was absent from part 1.
だいぶ手こずっとるようじゃの。どうじゃ、一つわしに任せてみんかい。
何か明暗でも。
ま、見てなされ。
I have no idea who he is, if he was from the manga, nor if he shows up in later installments of the franchise, but for right now, he's there and does absolutely nothing. We also see Jigen's eyes a little too much, as in the series he typically has his hat fully covering them. There's nothing special about it, so you can skip it unless you feel like you must see everything and anything that has to do with the Lupin III series. In the end, I loved Lupin III Part 1. It has the perfect balance of comedy and drama that sets it apart from other anime series. Despite its flaws, I am giving Lupin III Part 1 a solid 5 out of 5 criminals in spandex. I cannot wait to see what else this franchise has to offer in its subsequent series, movies, and specials. Consider me a fan. Until next time, bye.
これルパンめ、この恨みは来週きっと晴らしてやるからな。くそー。